Hello and welcome to Dough Daddy Cooks. I'm Frank, your Chief Flavor Officer and also Certified Financial Planner, coming at you with another money-saving tip. Remember that video where I taught you how to cut up a chicken so you can save substantial money? Well, we're going to take those bones and scraps and we're going to turn that into liquid gold. That's right, chicken stock. This stuff can be used for anything from risotto to gravies to pan sauces to soups. Always great to have on hand. So sit back and enjoy.
All right, so today we are going to make chicken stock. So if you saw my video in the past on how to fabricate a chicken, cut up a chicken into its usable parts, you know that I saved a lot of the scraps because nothing goes to waste. And we're gonna make chicken stock. So the first thing we do, we take as chicken stock is we cut up the parts, and basically if you're making chicken, take whatever parts you're not using, freeze them. We are making a light stock today, which means none of the vegetables are going to be roasted. The chicken bones aren't going to be roasted. But you could also make a darker chicken stock where you roast the vegetables a little bit, you roast the bones. Maybe you've already used a rotisserie chicken, you have the carcass left from that. Today we are just using uncooked bones, uncooked vegetables. We're going to make a light stock. A couple things to remember when you're making a stock. Always use cold water. Never use hot water, never use warm water. It's a good way to shock the bones to not have it release any of the stuff that it's not supposed to release, the fats, the proteins. We want that to kind of happen slowly over time. So that's the first thing. Second thing, never add salt. Never add salt to a stock. Think about a stock as not a finished product. It's not a soup. It is an ingredient in something else. So maybe you're going to make a soup with it. Maybe you're going to make a reduction with it, a pan sauce, whatever. It is an ingredient to something else. And then when you're making that something else, that's when you add your seasoning, like your salt, your garlic. I try to keep my stock as basic as possible. So I always throw in the kind of the holy trinity of vegetables, the mirepoix, which is 50% onions, 25% carrots, 25% celery. I'll chop this up. I always throw in a little bit of thyme, bay leaves, and whole pepper, which I'm going to smash up a little bit, not a lot, just to release some of the flavors, but they're going to sit in the water over time. Another thing that's important, if you were making a stock like a chicken stock, you're going to cook it 2 to 3 hours. You can go longer, but really 2 to 3 hours is really where you want to be. So the shorter you're going to cook something, the smaller the pieces of the vegetables that you want to cut up. All right? So if you're going to cook it for a longer period of time, you're going to make more of a rough chop. So if I was making a beef stock, which I might let go for 12 to 15 hours, I'm going to have much larger chunks of vegetables. This is a chicken stock. I'm going to keep the pieces relatively small. So what I'm going to do is get my hotel pan. And there is two schools of thought whether you want to remove the skins from the onions or not. That's up to you. I am probably going to remove the skins just because I want to. There's really no right or wrong answer. You talk to 10 different cooks, you're going to get 12 different answers. So no need to fret over it. Use the skins, don't use the skins, totally up to you. I always have a discard bowl ready too. Makes cleaning up a lot easier. Always have a handy dandy bench scraper here. Makes cleanup a lot easier. Chop off the heads. Now I got probably about 8 pounds of bones in there. So what I'm going to do is, actually we're going to get the water going. Probably should have started that first, but we'll get the water going. I'm gonna leave that one on. Usually when you're making stocks, they say 2 parts bones to 1 part vegetables. So I've got 8 pounds of chicken bones in there, chicken carcasses, which means I need about 4 pounds of vegetables. Now your typical mirepoix is going to be 50% onions, 25% celery, 25% carrots. So with that said, if I need 4 pounds, do the math. I need 2 pounds of carrots and a pound each. And I think this is a good size. We don't need to be, I don't need a fine dice. And if you're working on knife skills, now's the time to play with it, because the precision isn't super important, right? So if you're working on knife skills, right? Remember, I don't know if the claw, you rub, as long as you keep the knife in contact with the back of your knuckles, you're never going to cut them. And then you claw down, 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 down. And then the better the more you do it, the faster you become. So it's a good skill to have. But if you don't want to be bothered with that, line them all up. Rough chop, rough chop, rough chop. And then you're good to go. Throw them all in there. I just had this this hotel pan out because I was doing other things. There really is you don't need that in any bowl you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and add some water to my stock. So what I want to do is just basically cover the bones. We're going to let that come to a boil, and then we're going to immediately bring it down to a simmer. So when we're making a stock, we never, ever really want it to boil. Initially boil and then to simmer. So just little bubbles here and there. But we're going to do that. And we're going to never let it boil, never need to cover it, because we want that water to evaporate. And we don't really want to move it around a lot because we don't want to jiggle stuff. So unfortunately, my pot filler does not reach over there, just because the way when we remodeled the kitchen, that was the only place we could put it. It's the biggest one I could find. Anyways, once that comes to a boil, I'm going to add in the rest of this stuff. I'm going to take my peppers, and I'm just going to, not a fine, but I'm just going to smash them a little bit. And if you don't have a mortar and pestle, put them on the cutting board and take a pan. Boom, smash, smash, smash. All you need to do. And again, you don't even really have to do it that much. I just like to do it just a little bit. Because why not? So I have that. I have a few bay leaves. Some fresh thyme. And now we wait. And that's the thing with stocks. There is just a lot of waiting time. So in the meantime, I'm going to pause, get this boiling. And once it starts to boil, I will come back and show you what the next steps are. All right? All right. So we're just going to add some cold water in. Not a ton. Just to raise it up a little bit. But again, cold. All right. We're going to let that sit for a little bit. And then I'm going to add my seasoning. So we'll let that sit probably for about 20-30 minutes, and we'll add that in. So I'm going to throw in the peppercorns that we crushed, some thyme, and some bay leaves. Oh, it's starting to smell really good in here. All right. You don't see a whole lot of scum coming back up, which is good. But we're gonna let this go now for several hours, and we'll check in with it occasionally. All right, thanks. All right, so the stock has been simmering now for several hours. I'm gonna bring it over here because I've got a better camera angle, and I'm gonna ladle it through my chinois, and we'll see how it turns out. So 1 second. As you can see, it's looking good, not heavily bubbling, just a nice little simmer. Got a lot of little stuff coming up to the top. I was skimming it off throughout the time that I wasn't recording. So let's go ahead and start straining this thing. All right, so when we strain, we don't really want to disrupt the stock that much. So I'm gonna ladle right through the chinois. I may strain it again depending on how much gets caught up, but we'll see. Can you see that? Liquid gold. If you could smell it in here, you'd be amazed how delicious it smells. I've got to cool it down fairly quick. You got a couple hours to get it into a safe temperature before you put it in the refrigerator. And then what I'll do is once it gets to a room temperature, I'll put it in the refrigerator. And then tomorrow, there might be a layer of fat along the top, so I'll probably skim that off. And then I'll put it into pint containers. Those deli containers are great if you haven't already, if you don't have any. I would highly recommend buying deli containers. They come in cup, pints, and quarts. They're stackable, they're cheap, and they're great because you look at it, you know exactly how much you have. So I think I got most everything I can get out of this one. I think that's all I'm going to get. All right. I'm not going to mash it down either. I don't want to get any impurities through, but I will shake it a little bit. Put it back in here. And you can see yep, excellent. So when you're tasting stock, you got to get used to it because there's no salt. So what you're looking for the flavors. And with the stock, you really kind of want a blank canvas. So I can taste the chicken. You can taste the undertones of the thyme and the vegetables. But you can definitely tell it's a chicken stock. But with this, you can, again, do so many other things. So with that said, I think we're good for now. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you got some good information out of this video. If there's anything else you'd like to see, certainly comment below. If there's anything you think I could do better, let me know. I'm always looking to improve. If you can like it, subscribe to my channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. It certainly helps us out. And again, thank you very much. Thank you for joining, and hope you learned something, and arrivederci.